The scent of old wood and forgotten dreams hung heavy in the air of Arthur's study. I ran a hand over the polished mahogany paneling, a surface I'd touched 1,000 times, yet today it felt different. It was 6 months since Arthur, my steady, brilliant architect husband, had been taken by a sudden, cruel heart attack. 6 months of navigating a silence that echoed in every corner of our meticulously designed home, a home that was, in itself, a testament to his genius. "It's warped here, ma'am," Ben, our gruff but kind contractor, observed, his experienced eye catching a subtle imperfection. He worked with a quiet efficiency, prying at the wood near the fireplace. A soft click, a gentle tug, and a section of the paneling came away. "This isn't structural," Ben said, holding up a small, empty wooden block. "Looks like a false back." My heart gave an odd flutter. Arthur, a man of such precise order, rarely left anything to chance, let alone a hidden cavity in his own study. Inside, nestled in the shadows, was a single, heavy, leather-bound book. The leather was aged, cracked with time, and the pages, when I gently opened it, were brittle. Arthur's distinctive, elegant handwriting filled the lines, not with blueprints or sketches, but with names, dates, amounts, and cryptic acronyms. JC $50K Riverside. CM 120K Pine Grove rezoning. The words swam before my eyes, cold and stark. This wasn't a diary, not a ledger of expenses. It was a meticulous record of bribes. Arthur, my Arthur, the city's chief architect, a man I had believed to be the embodiment of integrity, had built his legacy on corruption. The Riverside wetlands, the Pine Grove rezoning projects he had publicly championed, now revealed as tainted by his own hand. Each entry was a hammer blow to the foundation of my life. The final entry, scrawled in a hasty, almost frantic hand, 3 months old, chilled me to the bone. WT final payment black spruce. I slammed the ledger shut, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the silent room. I locked it away in the study safe, desperate to bury the truth, to pretend it was a nightmare. But the ledger was a phantom, haunting every room, its dark secret whispering from the walls. Then the city council's letter arrived. A generous offer to purchase my home, citing its location as ideal for a new, necessary public green space. The offer was exactly double the market value. I politely declined, clutching Arthur's memory, clutching the house he had built for us. This was my sanctuary. A week later, the letters returned, less polite, hinting at obscure zoning violations Arthur himself had supposedly overlooked. Then came the men in tailored suits, smooth-faced and cold-eyed. Not from the mayor's office, they claimed to be private investors. They offered triple the market value, but with a terrifying ultimatum. Close the sale within 48 hours or the offer is off the table forever. They didn't want a park. They didn't want my home. They wanted something in my home. And they assumed it was something valuable, not just a ledger full of damning truths. I had to understand black spruce. Late one night, I slipped into the city archives, using an old key Arthur had given me for emergencies. I scoured his professional records, his blueprints, his correspondence. Nothing. Black spruce wasn't a project code. The acronyms, JC, CM, they weren't initials of projects, but of people. And WT, William Thorne, the recently retired city councilman, now chairing the powerful planning committee. The name sent a shiver down my spine. I sought out Ben, the contractor. He'd seen everything in this city. When I mentioned William Thorne, his face, usually so open, tightened. "Thorne's not a friend, Clara," he warned, his voice low. "He's a predator. They call his projects black spruce because they grow where nothing else should, fast and toxic." Ben explained Thorne's relentless campaign to rezone a vast, pristine old-growth forest bordering the city, land Arthur had fiercely protected for years. Arthur's very last official act before his death had been to testify against Thorne's rezoning petition. The final payment in the ledger. It wasn't a bribe Arthur took to keep silent. It was a bribe Arthur took to reverse his decision, to greenlight the destruction of that ancient forest. The implication was horrifying. Arthur hadn't died of a heart attack. He had died just after committing the ultimate betrayal. But why record it? Why not just take the money and destroy the evidence? I went back to the ledger, the faint scent of old leather and betrayal filling my nostrils. WT final payment black spruce. and beneath it, a single coded note, MF44. I drove out to the black spruce forest tract. It was immense, silent, brooding. The trees stood like ancient sentinels. I walked for hours, searching, my mind a blur of grief and rage. And then, near a hidden creek, glinting faintly in the undergrowth, I found it. A small, rusted metal marker, engraved with the letters MF44. It wasn't a payment record. It was a burial map. Arthur, my Arthur, in his final, tortured moments, hadn't just taken the bribe. He had meticulously documented it. He had buried the true evidence, the physical proof of Thorne's decades-long corruption, out here, far from the prying eyes that would undoubtedly search our home. And then he had died. Not from a heart attack, but because he had tried to expose it. I returned home to find the official notice plastered to my front door, eminent domain. The city was seizing the property, effective in 24 hours. The reason? Contamination risk. Thorne wasn't just suspicious. He knew. He was closing in. I had mere hours. I called Ben, my voice trembling as I spilled the truth. He listened, his silence a testament to his shock, then agreed to meet me at the forest first thing in the morning. I spent the night making copies of the ledger, my hands shaking. Outside, a black SUV parked across the street, a silent, menacing sentinel. I was being watched. The next morning, the air was crisp, the forest hushed. Ben was already there, shovel in hand. We found the marker and we dug. The earth was soft, giving way to a heavy, waterproof metal case. Inside were not just documents, but original, signed deeds proving Thorne's shell corporations had bought the black spruce land for a pittance, relying on Arthur's rezoning clearance. And then, the ultimate betrayal, a small, discreet audio recorder. The last file on it contained Thorne's voice, cold and threatening, confronting Arthur, warning him about backing out of the deal. A struggle, a gasp, the sound of a life extinguished. Arthur's death had not been natural. Thorne had murdered him. I had the evidence, the truth about Arthur, the truth about Thorne, the truth that would bring down an empire of corruption. But as I drove away, the black SUV was there again, on my tail. The chase was frantic, a blur of city streets and pounding adrenaline. I couldn't just hand this to the police. Thorne's influence ran too deep. I needed to expose him on a grand scale, to shatter his power publicly. Arthur, in his twisted final act, had given me the tools. Thorne was holding a major televised press conference at City Hall that afternoon, announcing the Black Spruce development. I found a way into the city's secure network, into the digital signage system that laced every screen throughout the vast City Hall complex. As Thorne began to speak, his voice smooth and confident, the massive screens behind him and throughout the building flickered. His face vanished, replaced by Arthur's elegant handwriting, filling the screens with the damning entries from the ledger. Then, the audio, Thorne's menacing voice, his threat, the struggle, Arthur's final gasp. The live broadcast cut out, then cut back, showing Thorne's face, pale and stunned, as his empire crumbled around him. He was arrested on the spot. I sold the house, not to the city, but to a preservation trust. It held too many ghosts, too many secrets. It was a monument now, not just to architectural beauty, but to a man's tortured conscience and his desperate, final act of redemption. I sit now, the original ledger open on my lap, its pages a record of betrayal, but also of truth. My Arthur was no saint, but in the end he fought. And through his last, desperate act, he gave me the power to tear down the black spruce and let the sun shine on the city once more. The house stands, a silent witness to the foundation of lies and the ultimate victory of truth.